or maybe we just use robots.
The robots would have guns for hands.
Well, obviously.
Critics inside NASA caution against funneling too many resources into the Mercury project when it would be so much cooler to build a prison on the moon ruled by clones of the prisoners themselves. Researchers encourage the public to read their findings, which have been released in the form of a graphic novel titled The Mercury Cipher.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome back, everyone, to this latest edition of Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves. You can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And in studio, I'm joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm your host, Vincent. And we begin the show with breaking news here. Breaking news out of New York State.
Ooh.
A recent study from New York State shows roughly 14% of the entire population possess coronavirus antibodies, indicating a staggering number of individuals have already contracted the illness in the past. An estimated...
And survived it, apparently.
Oh, yeah, and most likely, it doesn't exactly say, but I'm pretty sure it's asymptomatic also. An estimated 13.9% of the New Yorkers have likely had COVID-19, according to preliminary results of coronavirus antibody testing released by Governor Andrew Cuomo on Thursday, reports CNBC. Quote, what we have found so far is that the statewide number is 13.9% tested positive for having the antibodies. What does that mean? It means these were people who were infected and who developed the antibodies to fight the infection, he said. They were infected 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, but they have had the virus. They developed the antibodies, and they are now recovered. And it's still a developing story, but... I say it's breaking because one, it just came out today, and also this other article I have here is from LA, and this one you might have heard already, where this article is from Reason.com. LA County antibody test suggests the fatality rate for COVID-19 is much lower than people feared. The tests indicate that the number of infections in the country is around 40 times as high as the number of confirmed cases. And yet, what were people talking about the death rate the fatality rate being here? In let's see, the currently, well, actually, I'll just begin as they get into it. The current, or one of the projected,
basically jack squat. And there's not a whole lot of fatalities compared to the number of infections.
Oh yeah, especially now in light of this new information. But previous estimates, they talked about 4.5%. They talked about, and so I'll just begin. Preliminary results from antibody tests in Los Angeles County indicate that the true number of COVID-19 infections is much higher than the number of confirmed cases there, which implies that the fatality rate is much lower than the official tally suggests. The mortality rate now has dropped.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that the government's inflated these numbers as much as they could possibly get away with in order to scare people into compliance?
Well, not the government, Ian, the computer models, right? We can't blame the government. It's the computer models they use. The same computer model, or at least, the same sort of models that suggested that we'd all be underwater, or at least, the East Coast would be underwater by 2020 and that there'd be no ice left on the planet. The quote, the mortality rate has now dropped a lot, Barbara Ferrer, director of the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, said at a press briefing today. So this isn't coming from like natural news. This isn't some obscure laboratory like from last night's Free Talk Live at the study about the masks. This is from the government itself. And now the number one question I've gotten when I've talked about this is, well, Vincent, why now are you suddenly trusting the government? And, well, two reasons. One, if they lied about like 100% of everything, it would be very blatant, right? The worst lies have just a little bit of truth in them to sell it. And also, this is, these new studies are going against what the main narrative was. And the main narrative was, this is the most, deadly thing. This isn't just the flu. This is going to result in thousands of deaths. People are calling it the Trump genocide, saying that Trump has blood on his hands.
Well, it has had thousands of deaths. And so does the flu. I think this is up to over 40,000 deaths in the United States, which would mean that it may be a little stronger than last year's flu.
But nowhere near as strong as what they initially suggested. Now, it's here in contrast with the current crude case fatality rate of about
weren't they expecting over hundreds of thousands, like 200,000 or something like that?
Oh, I saw a number like 2 million deaths originally.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
In contrast, well, and that's what got people to do the shutdown anyways, right? Just saying, oh, all these people could die. In the contrast with a current crude case fatality rate of about 4.5%, the study suggests that 0.1% to 0.2% of people infected by the virus will die, which would make COVID-19 only somewhat more deadly than the seasonal flu. So, well, Chicken Little, are you all the Chicken Littles? Are you happy? Right, the economy is the economy is down the drain.
Total devastation economically.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we could be looking at a new depression. We have tons of blue states are facing bankruptcy. We're going to get to that soon. I have an article saying that some parts of the world are facing famine because of this shutdown.
Jeez.
Was it like tens of thousands of people in New Hampshire alone have lost their jobs because of this shutdown? And all just because people decided to, instead of waiting to see the facts, they trusted the government's computer model. And
it's fear. It's just straight up fear, and that's what the government feeds on. It wants you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid because they want you to think that you need them, right? It's a classic V for Vendetta speech of, they must remember why they need us. And that's what this is all about. Even though, historically people do understand that government politicians are liars for some reason, they believe them if there's a man with a lab coat standing next to him, and it's really sad. Do you want to hear about the letter I got today?
Oh, yes.
So I don't get a whole lot of letters, okay? Even though I'm on like a talk radio show, it's very rare that people actually like send me things, but within the last few days I've gotten 2 unusual contacts. One was a voicemail that some guy left on there's a internet affiliate called libertytalk.fm. So I'm not sure why he sent them the voicemail, but he called their voicemail line and left a message basically demanding that I sign some sort of statement saying that I would not accept medical services because I'm refusing to obey all these government edicts about wearing a mask and all this nonsense and staying inside. Then today I got a letter. Oh, and he said he was going to call into the show and demand that we sign the this particular statement. He has yet to call.
Oh, really? Well, please, if you're listening, sir or ma'am, 855-450-FREE, F is in freedom, right?
Yeah, he sounded very angry.
855-450-3733 if you'd like to call in and speak to Ian or I directly.
And then this one came in from a Phyllis B. Priebe, or Priebe, Priebe, in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this is a letter, handwritten, outside on the letter. She didn't have my address, so she just wrote it to Ian Freeman, Genesis Communications Network, Keene, New Hampshire, and it got to me because, I'm the only Ian Freeman in town, so they probably know. And so at the top of the letter, which is printed on a computer but signed at the very bottom, there's a little clipped piece of a newspaper. So clearly Phyllis is a newspaper reader. I'm guessing she's older with a name like Phyllis and the fact that she reads a newspaper, right? Because young people don't read newspapers. So she clips out a piece of the newspaper, she tapes it up on the top of the piece of paper, and then underneath that in the text that she printed out says, Ian Freeman, your effing freedom ends where my civil rights begin. I have the right, maybe I should read it like an old lady, I have the right to exist in this country without your blatant irresponsibility causing my or anyone else's death. If you insist on ignoring standards of behavior for public safety, you are liable for deliberately spreading COVID-19 and should be charged with causing intentional infection resulting in illness or death. Go to hell! In all caps.
Deliberately spreading COVID-19. Well, you haven't been tested, right? So, no. You haven't, and as far as you know, you haven't been expressing any symptoms of COVID-19. Your big toe hasn't shriveled up. Your testicles haven't fallen off. You're not coughing.
Are those symptoms? I mean, I heard coughing was a symptom, but no, I haven't been. I did several weeks back have a slight bout of some diarrhea and puking in the middle of an overnight, but that's about it.
Well, okay. I haven't seen those listed as COVID-19 symptoms
I have.
yet.
I mean, I've seen a list of symptoms that people who've tested for COVID-19 have experienced, and like diarrhea was at like 3% or whatever, so it wasn't a common symptom, but
well,
I don't know.
I'm actually glad that we were able to read that on the air today, because there is just so much hysteria. And this is just from a regular person, right? Hundreds of miles
some
away.
Random lady reading a newspaper.
We're seeing hysteria from governors. We're seeing hysteria from CNN hosts, right? Anyone who goes against the narrative, they freak out and lose their minds. And here we'll be discussing Mark Zuckerberg. Lockdown protests are misinformation, and Facebook will ban organizers.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be getting into that, plus your calls at 855-450 free Epison Freedom, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
I have 2 dogs, Sam and Bailey. Both are golden retrievers. Poor Sam, he was a mess. Always itching. His paws were soaking wet all day from just constant licking. He had bald spots on his back. I just don't like putting shots and steroids into your dog all the time. DINOVITE.com. Dinovite is nutrition. Probably 2 weeks after he started Dinovite, I started seeing great improvements, and today 99% of his issues are non-existent. It's amazing stuff. Since Bailey has been 12 weeks old, he's been a Dinovite dog, and he has 0 issues today. He won't eat his food without Dinovite. When I get out the Dinovite, my dogs actually salivate, like I'm getting them a treat. They drool over it. Dinovite is the best thing you can do for your dog.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you could do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE, F as in freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, we're joined by Minister
Ian Freeman.
And I'm Vincent, your host. And before we talk about any sort of Reopen America protests getting zucked, right, as in getting kicked off or getting banned from Facebook, I want to talk to you about local.bitcoin.com. So now Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. That's local.bitcoin.com. And so here, and it's not just Facebook that's involved in the censorship. Unfortunately, it's a so-called journalistic organization is also involved in it. But this article is from Breitbart here. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that posts and pages attempting to organize protests against stay-at-home orders will be banned as, quote, misinformation. So, you know, I mean, it's not like it's a Facebook page telling people to take certain chemicals because, oh, this could cure it. It's just people organizing a protest, right? Expressing their opinion. How could an opinion be misinformation? The Facebook CEO confirmed that the post would be banned to ABC's George Stephanopoulos on a segment of Good Morning America. Stephanopoulos asked Zuckerberg how the company deals with, quote, with the fact that Facebook is now being used to organize a lot of these protests to defy social distancing guidelines in states. If someone trying to organize something like that, does that qualify as harmful misinformation? So already there you have a leading, at least in my view, you know, I'm a journalism well, almost a professional. I almost have my degree, just one more month. But I'd say that's a leading question there. Quote, we do, and so Zuckerberg replies, quote, we do classify that as harmful misinformation, and we take that down, confirms Zuckerberg, while at the same time saying that it's important, quote, that people can debate policies. So there, that's what do you call it in English, saying speaking out of both sides of your mouth?
Well, he's saying that you can debate on their platform, you just can't organize. Isn't that right?
It seems that way, but a Facebook spokesperson confirmed to CNN that planned protests in California, New Jersey, and Nebraska were having their pages removed from Facebook at the request of state authorities. And so this, it's difficult. Like, for me, it's difficult to make this analogy because I don't know what sort of all sorts of different generations are listening. But there's a show called Recess on, I think it was Disney, and there's this kid who's a tattletale named Randall, right? And he looked like a rat, and he'd always, he had like a notebook.
Is this
and
animated?
Yeah, it's a cartoon, 2D animation. He would have a notebook, and he would write down like all the bad stuff people were doing and immediately go to the teacher and tattle on them. From my recollection, I haven't seen the cartoon forever. And so now Oliver Darcy, I guess some sort of human, I'm not going to insult his looks. He's a media tattletale, right? He works for CNN, the most trusted name in fake news. And what this guy does is he contacts like Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and anytime there's anyone that CNN doesn't like is getting any steam or doing anything on their platforms, he would essentially tattle on them, ask leading questions that eventually ends with them being banned. And so I should have known he was behind this also. Anti-quarantine protests being organized through Facebook in California, New Jersey, and Nebraska are being removed from the platform on the instruction of governments in those three states because it violates stay-at-home orders, Facebook spokesperson Andy Ems tells Donnie. Right. So he's reporting on this also. So as I said, I should have known. And this is where you have the media, right, or at least the industrial media complex, whatever you want to call it, where the media, the big tech giants, and the government all coordinate in order to stamp out any sort of opposition.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because corporations are creatures of the state. Okay, so when you file to create a corporation, you're asking the state for some sort of a privilege. You're asking them to confer you with this protection of the corporation. So you're asking the biggest corporation, the most immune corporation, the government, for the privilege of having your own corporation. Well, one of the rules that comes along with that is your corporation has to do the government's bidding. You have to essentially be a good corporate citizen. And that means following whatever orders the government demands of you. And whether that means getting a business license or jumping through hoops over here or obeying the OSHA requirements or whatever, or in this case, ensuring that people can't use your platform to violate the law. Now, even though this isn't constitutional by our perspective, right? Like cracking down on freedom of speech is obviously unconstitutional. From the perspective of the government, they believe that this is legal, right? So they say, oh, well, there is that Constitution thing, but we got all these emergency statutes that basically say we could ignore that thing. So they just have criminalized constitutionally protected activities like assembly, like getting together with other human beings and opposing, using the protest freedom to the freedom of speech to oppose what's going on. Essentially, the argument is from the states that these are illegal, and therefore, if you are a corporation like a Facebook or a YouTube, or because we've also seen that YouTube's taking down videos that are critical, if you are one of these companies, you have to do the bidding of the state. You exist because of the state, and so therefore you are essentially an arm of the state.
Absolutely, and one would think that like your churches have it. Most churches have a tax-free exemption under the First Amendment. One would think that
all churches are tax exempt.
All churches. So one would think that media company, or the media, which is also protected by the First Amendment, would be a notable exception. Would be one of the front runners to resist this government. The government's jackboot. But in this case, with a lot of this mainstream media, they don't want to lose access. Even though, like with CNN, as I was 90% negative media coverage against Trump, they don't want to lose. They don't want to ask the hard questions. One, because they're paid shills, and the sponsor of a media company is essentially the owner, and two, they don't want to lose access. If someone starts asking too hard questions, then they don't get interviews anymore.
Right.
And it's a shame. I mean, it's a shame, and because I've been in this position also when writing for the college paper, or just doing assignments, and at least in my experience, it doesn't hurt the story. What it does is it hurts the reputation of who refuses to be interviewed, because they obviously have something to hide. But in this case, you don't get as much money for running, commercials or whatever by not having the big interview with these criminal politicians. So they just throw freedom down the drain. And I wonder how long until Trump gets. If Trump is going to be held to these standards, because he's on Twitter tweeting, calling on protesters to liberate states of Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia, also calling on Virginian citizens to say, quote, save your great Second Amendment. It is under siege, from the president who said that he's in favor of red flag law, taking the guns first from crazy people. Yeah, to just executive fiat, taking the bump stocks. Well, folks, it's worse. It could be Hillary. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't want to hear it.
What he means when he says liberate and then fill in the blank state, he just means put in Republicans. That's what he means. He doesn't mean actual freedom.
855-450-FREE, F as in freedom, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Today's fitness trackers can tell how far you're running, but tomorrow's can tell you why you're running. The new Nike Run Logic Plus pinpoints the desperate psychological demons at the root of your exercise routine. Tech Trends reporter Aaron Vaughn has more.
It's a problem all runners face. You run and you run and you run, but it's never enough. No matter how many miles you put in, that gnawing ache at your soul never goes away. Now Nike's engineers have found a way for runners to use that existential pain to push themselves even farther. Users keep the device on their wrist at all times. It not only records running times and distances, it also analyzes all of the user's social interactions and emotional patterns. It then creates a unique, detailed profile that dredges the inspiring well of inner turmoil inside every runner. Early users say they notice a big impact on their workout.
I started marathoning when I was 28. I thought it was time to get in shape, but then once I realized I was actually running from my meaningless job in ad sales, I started running a lot more, like all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's F as in freedom, 855-450-3733. In studio, we are joined by...
Yeah, it's Ian.
And I'm your host, Vincent. And before we continue with the collaborator media, I want to talk to you about AnyPay. Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now, with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. That's anypayinc.com. So now, Ian, you say you have some articles on the media, more articles on the media kowtowing and submitting to this medical tyranny.
Well, in this case, it was actually a morning show couple in Idaho Falls, Idaho. We actually have a lot to say about Idaho tonight because Idaho's government goons have come out with their reopening plan, or what they're calling the Idaho Rebound.
Massive asterisks in the corner.
Yeah, well, we can get into that in a little bit, but Idaho Falls has a radio station called KID. Now, in radio parlance, the three-letter stations, they're very rare, right? Like most stations are 4 letters in their call letters, but KID is one of the 3-letter stations, and that means, as I understand it, that the call letters go like way back, basically, that they've been around, that set of calls has been around probably since like, the very first decade or two or whatever that radio existed. And in this case, KID is AM 590. I, of course, call radio stations during the daytime. That's what I do. I talk to radio station program directors, and I pitch them on Free Talk Live. So I had spoken with the program director of this station on a number of occasions. He was friendly. He was, I would say, he would consider adding Free Talk Live, but we hadn't gotten on the station yet. And at this point, I don't know if we ever will, because that program director was one of the morning show hosts who he left. They quit. They resigned in frustration over what the owner of the station was demanding from them. So here's a story from EastIdahoNews.com. Neil Larson is his name, and Julie Mason, hosts of The Neil Larson Show, say a disagreement with management over how to cover COVID-19 and Governor Brad Little's stay-at-home order forced them to walk away from their highly listened-to political talk program. Quote, "We had a difference of philosophy with leadership in the company about how we were covering aspects of the stay-at-home order and the lockdown. We took issue with that," said Larson. He said further, "We didn't walk into work this morning thinking this was going to be our last show. We didn't anticipate this, but when we saw the email, took issue with it, and had a conversation later, we realized it was time." Unquote. Larson's referring to an email that he and his co-host received from Richard Meacham, the owner of KID News Radio and its parent company, Rich Broadcasting. Meacham detailed 10 examples of what he said he heard on the show last week that were concerning to him. They included the personalities mentioning a mutiny against Little's stay-at-home order, an invitation for listeners to ignore the order because it isn't being enforced, and other statements that he deemed were, quote, dangerous.
I just got to say that as someone who's received plenty of complaints from my terrestrial show, whenever someone says, oh, I found that, or people found that concerning, it usually means whoever complained just doesn't like it.
For sure. And they didn't want to tell you who the people were, right? So they're protecting the complainants.
Cowards.
The email was sent late Sunday night, and the duo saw it before their show on Monday. Once they were off the air, they had a call with Meacham that, quote, didn't go well, said Larson, and then they resigned, cleaned out their desks, and left the building. Larson and Mason stand by their comments and admit that while they may have said mutiny while discussing protests against the governor, they have, quote, never ever, unquote, called for mutiny against Little or told their audience to break any laws. So, they're not willing to go as far as we might be here on Free Talk Live, but still they deserve some credit for at least not completely towing the state line on COVID-19. Larson says, quote, you have a situation where we have the governor's executive authority that is in direct contradiction with our constitutional rights. In some cases, that's okay, and I would defend that. Boo. But we're at a point where people are getting restless. They want to get back to work. They want to get back to the jobs and provide for their families. I think we acknowledged that, and we talked about understanding and people wanting to get back to normalcy. He says the resignation was a culmination of a lot of things, not just this one issue. The personality who's been at the station for 9 years said he would never leave a job over just one reason. Despite tough financial times for media outlets, Larson said economic reasons didn't play into their decision. So they were obviously frustrated with this owner. There was more that this was the final straw that broke the camel's back in this particular case. But, what does the owner have to say? Talk Radio's industry publication of note, Talkers.com, Talkers Magazine, has published a editorial piece by Richard Meacham, the president of Rich Broadcasting. He named his company after himself. If that gives you some idea of who we're dealing with here. And he says he spent a lot of time monitoring his station, KID-AM, from his office in Salt Lake City. While listening to the station, I heard the following comments. 1. Neil and Julie talked about a mutiny against the governor and that Idahoans were preparing to protest at the Capitol. 2. The governor's order is not really an order because it's not enforced. 3. If you're feeling strongly about the need to see someone and your heart is telling you to go see them, do it. Don't worry about an order or social distancing. 4. I'm going to do what I need to do in order to support my family. Would you like to comment?
Those sickos. I mean, I can't believe they said that on the public airwaves.
Right. They were encouraging people to, do their own thing and
see
go
their
out
loved ones.
See their loved ones. Wow, those radicals. Number 5. But this is what made the owner angry, right? He's outlining the things that he had to have a talk with his...
These intolerable acts.
Right. Number 5. If in your heart you feel like throwing a birthday party for 15 people and you know they're healthy, throw the party. 6. Why are cashiers bothering to wear gloves? If they aren't changing the gloves after every transaction, what good is it doing?
Well, that's common sense. That makes absolute sense. It's even what the government says.
7. Later today, we'll be conducting a frustrating interview with Governor Little. 8. Why do nail salons and other similar businesses need to stay closed? 9. Complaining and or making fun of people who are wearing masks and gloves. I'm not going to wear a mask, and if I happen to cough at a store, it's not my fault if Grandpa dies.
Okay, so I don't know. He didn't do himself any favors by phrasing it like that, I have to say.
And then number 10, I'm fortunate to have a job that has not needed to reduce my compensation. So these are the issues that the man who owns the station took, and then he wrote out 10 responses to those. Number 1 was the one about a mutiny. His response is, a mutiny against the governor and his stay-at-home order? Mutiny? Based on the overall tone of the show, it came across as if you were advocating for our listeners to mutiny against the governor. Okay, so this is actually the email he sent to them. I went back and...
I just want to say tone. That's another. I'm getting deja vu. Tone is another one of these very loose terms that they use. I mean, just when they don't like the overall theme, they just say, "Oh, your tone was discerning," when they can't really find anything wrong with anything exactly what someone said.
He says, I went back and listened to the podcast to see if I'd misinterpreted the comment or was taking it out of context. I don't think so. So he is just angry that how dare his morning show hosts dare to talk about going against what our governor has demanded. He says here, number 3, which was the one about feeling strongly to go see your family. He says, if your heart is telling you the governor is wrong, then the stay-at-home orders for everyone but me and my family and the social distancing doesn't apply to me. I'm going to do what my heart tells me to do, and the hell with the governor. So I'm just going to skip past his numbered responses. And then he says, my thoughts going forward. He says, I listen to KSL and the sports talk stations a lot in Salt Lake City. They do interviews twice an hour with clients that are struggling and talk about what their listeners can do to support them. They're doing the best to lift their audience and support their clients and partners, while KID uses terms like mutiny and tells our listeners why they do not have to support the governor / President Trump / the medical specialists, etc. So I'll give you the rest of this here.
Yeah, so I mean, and I'm assuming he owns those other stations.
Actually, I'm not sure about that.
I was going to say, advertising another station, but comparing it. I mean, well, that's what talk radio is for. I mean, it's to be a stalwart against what everyone else is saying. Anyway, so we'll get into it. Coming up, this is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE, F is in Freedom, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required, only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
This is a pandemic survival alert, and the most time-sensitive messages you will hear this year. You still have time to plant a 1-acre crisis garden and secure a supply of your own nutrient-dense food. But time is running out, and it's one deadline you don't want to miss. Who should plant a crisis garden? Individuals, families, churches, communities, anyone or any group that sees hard times ahead. Let's face it, even the mainline media is talking about food supply disruptions and the growing number of grocery store workers who are becoming sick. But there's more. Meet packing plants are closing, mile-long lines at food pantries, and more farmers now in financial trouble. The truth is, growing nutrient-dense vegetables this summer may be the single most important thing you do. Go to survivalseedbank.com and watch the new video to understand what we're really up against. Get free bonus seeds, special quarantine reports too. Don't wait. Every minute counts. Go to survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you could do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE, F-R-E-E. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, we're joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm Vincent, your host. And now we were talking about this with network owner... and
Station owner.
Station owner. Who's responded, who had to let go his morning hosts for daring to have a different opinion regarding and speak out against this corona lockdown hysteria. And he was outlining some of his reasoning here. So, Ian, I think you said you had more to that story.
Yeah, the company is called Rich Broadcasting. It appears to own 5 stations. All of them are in Idaho. This one that we're talking about is KID-AM, which is the talk station at AM 590, based in Idaho Falls. And the morning show hosts, Neil Larson and Julie Mason, resigned, what seems like in frustration and disgust over this owner and it's his station, so he gets to say what he wants, right? But the owner didn't like some of the things that Larson and his co-host were saying on their morning show. He wrote an email outlining 10 different things that he heard that he wasn't happy about, including them talking about a mutiny against the governor, protesting at the Capitol, going out anyway despite the lockdown orders to see your loved ones and such, going to a nail salon or reopening them and that sort of thing. And so he wrote a lengthy response to them. I skipped past the sort of the numeric responses where he just responds to each thing that he didn't like. And I'm getting to the general statement of his frustration. He says, I may be one of the most frustrated stay-at-homers in America. Again, this is the email he sent to his morning show hosts. He says, I can't drive to my business/investment. I can't hire anyone. And I'm watching our sales go down the toilet. By the way, that's another issue that a lot of companies are having in the media business, is how do you get an advertiser to sign on with you if their customers can't come to their business? So basically, advertising-based businesses like newspapers and radio and television stations are in a really difficult time right now.
Well, and he's not doing himself any favors by getting rid of his morning talent, which it seems like they'd been established for, getting rid of his morning talent.
Well, actually, I mean, that's less money that he's got to pay out.
Yeah, but it'd be less people. They have to build up the audience again with new hosts.
True. He could flip to a syndicated morning show, at least in the meantime, and keep his costs down. But anyway, he says, in the meantime, I had a daughter-in-law and a grandson to celebrate birthdays. We drove to their homes, left presents on their porch, and had a great visit from the car. Wow, how sad is that? I mean, how pathetic.
Absolutely. And he's defending it, too. It's Stockholm Syndrome.
You're too afraid to even go give your own family members a hug. My God. He says, I hate where we are as a country right now, and I'm going to wash my hands, maintain appropriate social distance, and stay away from groups. One more heart comment advocating for our listeners to fly in the face of the governor's order will be the last time. So he does threaten them here, and he says, if you make a similar comment, you're going to be fired. He says, I don't want to see a response to this email, and I expect to hear a major shift in the tone of the morning show. KID is not a Neil and Julie station. It's a rich broadcasting station. You said you didn't want to have to report to an operations manager. With autonomy comes exceptional accountability. I'm going to continue to monitor on a daily basis. If a more structured reporting system is needed, it will be implemented immediately. So then he says they saw the email at 6 a.m. and resigned at 6:15.
Good for them. That is the most control freak email I have ever seen. I come from a family of them. Well, first off, why didn't he just pick up the phone or meet? Well, I was going to say, why didn't he meet them in person and do this? Okay, so stupid question. I mean, like, via an email and also saying, I don't want to see any replies. Like, why not a phone call? Something where you could, like, get a dialogue going.
He says he wanted to talk to them. He does say further in this letter to Talkers Magazine that Neil and Julie resigned from KID voluntarily. They were not terminated. Frankly, they were invited to meet over lunch to discuss the show going forward.
To meet over lunch, as in person.
Right, to violate.
What?
Where was he going to meet him if he's staying home? But either way, the point being, he was saying he was willing to talk to them. But it's not like he was willing to let them have their opinions, okay? He was going to tell them, it is going to be this way, or you're going to not be on the morning show anymore. And they decided they would rather not be on the morning show anymore than obey this man's diktats. Now, I wanted to bring this up here, and again, it's his company. He can run it however he wants. But he got rid of his morning show host, who he had there at the station for about a decade, over their viewpoints on this issue. So I want to say kudos to Neil Larson and his co-host Julie there for standing with some level of principle on this. Now, by no means were they, they're denying that they advocated people go out and break the law, where I would say if it's a bad law, it should be broken. And but nonetheless, they do deserve some credit for this. So we weren't the only show that has been punished in the radio business for this, because we lost a station 2 weeks ago, I think now at this point. One of our stations in Wisconsin dropped us and sent us an email where it was kind of a very similar wording of like, here's just a little bit more here from the owner. Quote, KID was granted a license by the FCC to broadcast, quote, in the public's best interest, unquote. As long as the governor of the state of Idaho has requested that citizens adhere to the stay-at-home order, social distancing, better hygiene, etc., it is, quote, in the public's best interest, unquote, to clearly follow those guidelines. So anything that deviates from the government's demands that have been put forth is a violation of in his mind, his right to broadcast or his privilege in this particular case to broadcast. Because whenever you ask for permission to do something, you aren't exercising a right. You're asking for a privilege to be granted. You're asking for a favor. And so these owners are actually worried at some level that the FCC will come after their license for this. That's what really has this. I mean, beyond how this appears to the governor and you don't want the governor to be mad at you, what you were talking about before, right? Like where you don't get the interviews. Beyond that, I think the owners themselves feel like their entire station is in jeopardy because someone is having a contrary viewpoint to the government. That's what this is coming from.
And does the government have power to, like, wouldn't that be overreach or some violation of First Amendment if they did decide to go after these stations because they weren't going, or not like weren't going along with it, but were advocating people don't go along with it?
It could be if it went to court and they were victorious, and the stations were victorious, but most of them probably aren't going to take that route. They're just going to do what they're told.
They don't have most people have neither the time nor money to do that. And I mean, for me, it's interesting that both this took place in Idaho, or the first story you read, it took place in Idaho. Then the station that dropped us was in Wisconsin. Those places are having some of they're not even the epicenters of this. I'd understand a station in California or New York or Florida, but I mean in flyover country is a derogative term, and so I'm trying to find something better than that. In the Midwest, I guess, in these Midwesterns or Middle America, right? Middle America. And that's, I mean, I guess I wonder if the fear from the coasts is spreading inwards. That's very unfortunate. Anything else to that?
I mean, that was basically the story. I don't know where these hosts are going to pop up again. It's hard as hell to find jobs in radio these days, media jobs in general. A lot of stations are furloughing employees and laying off employees and cutting employee salaries as well. So they've come, some of these corporate companies have come to their employees and said, look, you can keep your job here, but you're going to have to cut your pay. We're going to cut you by, your pay is going to be cut down to 90% or 85% or something like that. So, a lot of people are faced with that decision of, do I love this job enough to actually have my pay reduced to keep it?
And that's been going on since even before coronavirus, at least in media and radio, because my degree is in multimedia journalism, so I could do print, TV, radio. But when I expressed interest in radio, it was always just sort of like a depressing. It was always like a depressing hunt, where I'd say terrestrial, and I'm as I say, I'm not an expert in the medium as you are, Ian, or at least not as well versed. But I just want to voice my appreciation for talk radio, because back when, if it wasn't for talk radio, I never would have gotten outside of what the public schools taught me, because I grew up listening to conservative talk radio with my father, and he had that before Fox News, and it's really important. I mean, no matter what orientation a talk show is, if it's libertarian, if it's Democrat or Republican or leftist or right wing, talk radio always gave people the freedom to call in that you don't really have for most TV shows. And I think this is sad, but shows that talk radio is absolutely under siege if you have station managers and owners just bowing to the pressure of a government and supporting the very lockdown that is further. It's just another
that's
nail
harming
in
their
the
business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just another nail in the coffin. And so one would, I would think that talk radio would be absolutely up in arms. There's plenty of at least a big talk radio hosts, and they're blaming right-wing talk radio for a lot of these shutdown protests. Speaking of, coming up, you wouldn't guess which head of state of a major country is actually joining an anti-lockdown protest. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another. without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,750, silver at $15.42, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,536. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, in the last week, 4.427 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time. That brings the 4-week total to 26.5 million, which is over 10 times the prior worst 5-week period in the last 50-plus years. Activist Post reports that last week's initial claims and this week's continuing claims are the highest level of continuing claims ever. A breakdown of initial claims by state shows that the weekly devastation is easing, with the number of not seasonally adjusted claims in New York, California, and Michigan declining notably over the past week, while Florida and Connecticut are still showing dramatic increases. In the last 5 weeks, far more Americans have filed for unemployment than jobs gained during the last decade since the end of the Great Recession. 22.13 million gained in a decade, 26.4 million lost in 5 weeks. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. In a brand new interview, Maria Farmer shares new details about her time with deceased serial sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein, as well as who she believes is protecting Epstein's longtime confidant. Farmer has been reported to be the first victim of Jeffrey Epstein after she brought her story to the New York police and FBI in 1996. The Mind Unleashed reports Epstein's escapades became front-page news in the summer of 2019, when he was arrested and faced charges for abusing dozens of young girls at his homes in Florida, New Mexico, New York, and Paris. Epstein died of an alleged suicide on August 2019 while in custody on new sex crime charges filed in New York. Since 2019, Maria Farmer has begun speaking more openly about her abuse at the hands of Epstein and the abuse of her then 15-year-old sister, Annie. In a recent interview with journalist Whitney Webb, Farmer details how she often saw Donald Trump, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Epstein attorney Alan Dershowitz associating with Epstein. Facial recognition company Visibility has announced they are working with Photon X to turn smart city cameras into heartbeat measuring cameras. Activist Post reports police will no longer need to use facial recognition to identify and track someone, because now they can use a person's heartbeat and oxygen saturation levels to identify them. Allowing law enforcement to track people's heartbeats proves that our politicians care more about monitoring everyone and less about privacy. Visibility is infamous for turning video screens into secret facial recognition devices. Artificial intelligence company Landing AI announced they have developed software that turns CCTV cameras into social distancing police monitors. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A civilian casualty is flattered to have been mistaken for a Hamas leader, and an asexually reproduced sea sponge is worried she's turning into herself. This news summary is best enjoyed in a state of leisurely repose, so sit back, relax, and let the waves of condensed news gently lap at your brain. This is the Onion Week in Review. Hoping to foster a lifelong connection to the airline, Delta announced the launch of its official alumni magazine, Flown, this week, a quarterly publication for people who have been passengers with the airline at some point in the past. A press release from Delta confirmed that the magazine will feature obituaries, wedding announcements, and profiles of prominent flyers that celebrate the shared experiences and interests of the airline's 900 million alumni.
I think it's a nice thing for Delta to do. I mean, it's always interesting to just skim through an issue, see what the old boarding group's up to. It kind of makes me nostalgic for the few hours back when I was on that flight to Tampa. Simpler days.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, as you can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, we're joined by...
Yeah, it's Ian.
And I'm Vincent, your host. And before we get into which head of state joined an anti-lockdown protest, we go to the Discord call-in lines, where we have Christian anarchists waiting patiently. Thank you for the call. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, I wanted to share a little inside information that I have.
All right, let's hear it.
Of course, we have to keep it anonymous because it does involve patient data. But in our little county here, we've had 3 coronavirus deaths for quite a while. If you're looking at the statistics on the Johns Hopkins website.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days ago, because we have access to our own patient records, we have a patient who was dying. He was on hospice, dying of Alzheimer's, and they suspected that he had coronavirus. So they put in there suspected of coronavirus in his chart, but then they did a coronavirus test, which came back negative.
Okay.
But once you have that in your medical chart, that says you're suspected that you have coronavirus, that continues forever. See, that's the nice thing about the new electronic medical records. Once something's in your chart, you can never get rid of it. Doesn't matter how, it's there forever. You will never get rid of it. Anyway, I just kind of had a suspicion that if I watched the website, the Johns Hopkins website, we were going to see our death count for coronavirus go up by 1. And sure enough, today, our death count went up by 1. I don't have solid evidence
you
to
can't
prove.
say for sure that it was the same guy.
I can't say for sure that it was the same guy, but I'll bet you any money. I mean, it's not a big county here. I'll bet you any money that this is the one. And even though his test comes back negative, because they suspected he had, symptoms that match coronavirus, which also match flu, which also match the common cold, that they're going to count it as a coronavirus death. And then I see the count go up by 1.
So
put
you're
2
calling
and 2
BS.
together.
You're calling BS on a lot of these government numbers that, as you pointed out, Vincent, earlier in the show tonight, are already just on their own fairly low when you look at them in comparison to other viruses and things like that. But you're saying, Gene, that these numbers, these low numbers that the government are even presenting, are themselves padded and inflated.
I suspect so. And when you've got somebody who's on hospice, for people that don't realize what hospice is when you're being treated because you're dying,
right?
And you're not being treated for your underlying conditions at all. If you have cancer or heart disease or whatever, you don't treat those conditions at all because you've already come to the conclusion that you're dying.
Yeah.
So all that you're treated for when you're on hospice is pain control, pain management.
Right.
So you get a lot of those, powerful painkillers, morphine and things like that, so that it just keeps the pain under control. Now, I would like to point out, and, some people don't like hospice. They say, oh, well, you're just letting people die. No, it's a very, very,
compassionate.
Yes, it's a very compassionate way to treat the phase from life to death, because 100 years ago, if you had some of these conditions, cancer, etc., you're going to die in some of the most miserable pain you can imagine. So the last breath of your life is in unimaginable pain. So hospice will actually manage that pain and give people a peaceful passing from this life. Now, I believe that there's another life after this one, so you go on to another life. It's nice, I would imagine. I mean, I haven't died yet, but
So
I would think that.
I'm curious to. I'm just curious to ask back to coronavirus. So you suspect that that we're just adding superfluous deaths and saying that's coronavirus. Why would they do that when I saw that like faking a death certificate, or they could get in trouble for fraud, or at least there'd be a large controversy. So why do you think hospitals are taking that risk?
Well, it's not a risk really, because if you're a doctor and you write a death certificate, you're basically just using your medical judgment as to what you thought was the final nail in the coffin. Some of these people have a lot of conditions. They'll have heart problems and kidney problems and all these other different things. And ultimately, every person dies from heart failure because your heart stops beating and then you're dead. So when you write those things out, nobody takes a fine-tooth comb over these death certificates. Nobody has the time. Nobody really cares.
And don't hospitals get money too for each COVID death? Like the government gives them hands out a bigger check for each COVID-19 death. That's one of the allegations I've been hearing as to why the numbers might be inflated. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, I kind of doubt that's the case, but there might be some grant money or something, but I doubt that they're getting any money just straight for certain kind of deaths.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the call, Christian Anarchist. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's interesting having somebody who works in a doctor's office full time reporting in like that. So thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Greatly appreciate it because, and I think it's important, we could talk all day about this and what we've seen in one study or seen in another study, but what people really listen to are people who wear white lab coats. So we need to, maybe we should just get some white lab coats, get some sheets, put it on. People will listen to us more and, trust us. But it was always appreciated.
I'm not interested in pandering to people's beliefs in authority, but you're right. That's what people fall for. They fall for that stuff, whether it be a man with a badge and a uniform or a man in a lab coat or a man in a suit. That stuff works on people.
Well, Ian, you know what you should do is you should go and get not a degree, something, become a doctor of chiropractic, so you could legally call yourself Dr. Ian.
Oh, there was actually a couple of talk show hosts in Florida, South Florida, back when Free Talk Live started on Real Radio in Sarasota, where I'm from. There was another Real Radio station in West Palm Beach, and they did a show called The Love Doctors, and they referred to themselves as Dr. Rich and Dr. Glenn. And were they actually doctors? Well, the names of this whole doctor thing went back to, they went to like a resort in Jamaica and they became honorary doctors of love, or like they got doctorates in love or something from some, fly-by-night school or whatever. So they were technically doctors from that perspective, but they weren't medical doctors or doctors of, psychology or anything like that.
Very interesting.
So anybody can be a doctor if that's what they want to do.
So maybe we could get the Shire Free Church to have like doctorates in freedom, so I could be Dr. Moore.
Well, the Shire Free Church is a decentralized organization, so I mean, if you want to do that, I suppose you could.
So all right, well, don't give me any ideas. I already have too many projects on my plate and too many scams going. But so I've teased it, and I don't know, Ian. Would you guess? Right? Would you be able to guess which head of state actually joined an anti-lockdown protest?
Brazil's president.
You saw.
I haven't seen the story. That was seriously a guess.
Okay. Well, yes, it is. It is
because he's been one of the most vocal against these lockdowns. Or not the lockdown specifically, but against all of the provisions that governments have been forcing.
Oh, absolutely. He was one of the first people to contract, or first heads of state to allegedly contract the coronavirus.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, and people were giving him grief because he was coughing when he was at the protest. This is from CNN. Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro defends joining anti-lockdown protests. And I have never heard, at least in this century, like a head of state joining a protest, right? You'd see Chuck Schumer outside some at some abortion rally, or you'd have certain. I think Trump went to an anti-abortion rally, but never like just an outright picket line protest. So Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has defended his participation in a public protest against coronavirus lockdown measures, saying that he was not calling for military action against the country's other branches of government. What a weakling salad. Oh my God, I have lost all. Sunday's protest, which was held in Brasilia outside the Army's headquarters. Okay, now I understand why people, that might be controversial. Outside the Army's headquarters, gathered dozens of Bolsonaro supporters wearing the country's emblematic yellow and green. Large signs, including one reading "Military Intervention with Bolsonaro in Power," were visible in a live stream of the event posted to the president's personal Facebook page. And now this reminds me of another movement in the United States calling for Trump to take full military dictatorship power, which we'll get into on the other side. 855 453. This is Free Talk Live.
Poor Sam was a mess. Always itching, licking. His paws were soaking wet. He had bald spots on his back. DINOVITE.com. 2 weeks after he started Dynamite, I started seeing great improvements, and today 99% of his issues are non-existent.
Dynamite is nutrition.
Dynamite is the best thing you can do for your dog.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynamite from DINOVITE.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556, or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces, even within an IRA. 800-525-9556, ICAGoldSilver.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live. Hold on. All right. Welcome back. We'll do it live. Welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves. You could do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's F-R-E-E. F as in freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And in studio, we are joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm your host, Vincent. And now we're going to continue talking about... Jair Bolsonaro, president of Brazil, attending a protest against the lockdown in front of the army headquarters, featuring protesters holding signs demanding military intervention with Bolsonaro in power. And now, granted, it very well could be a plant, or there could have been just many other, just one person there that looked like that, because in the United States, what our lying media does is they would see one person, there'd be a freedom protest, and they'd see one person with a Confederate flag or dressed as a Nazi, and all the cameras are on them while all the regular people are. And I mean, even in some of the more, if they can't find someone wearing a Confederate flag or being an agitator, they just cover all the, all the pro-Trump signs, and they leave out, the rest of the people who are at these anti-lockdown rallies, protesting protesting it. So, although with Brazil, the history of Brazil and unfortunately many South American countries, their military coups and dictatorships are, they're not often, but it's. I'm trying to find the words here. It's more common than one would think, just being from the United States. There'd be bloodless coups where the military would just show up, and it's all around the world too, right? In the United States, we're lucky, or it's somewhat of an, maybe not lucky, but
politicians are lucky that doesn't happen here.
Exactly, yeah. It's somewhat of an anomaly, at least for now, that there's been always at least on the outside, a peaceable transfer of power.
Yeah, I have to wonder what would happen. We've seen some of these protests in the U.S. There was one in Austin over the weekend. There was one in New Hampshire as well that we went to. how far are these people willing to go? Like, Americans aren't used to doing much more than going out and waving some signs and calling their politicians. But if they keep going out and nothing changes, where are they going to go from here? What are the next steps going to be? Are they actually going to step out and take a risk like Shelley Luther did in Dallas, where WFAA is reporting that she's risking a possible fine and jail time? A Dallas salon owner says she's reopening tomorrow. Quote, "We're about to lose everything, and we haven't gotten any help, so I had to make a decision." And this is what I've been saying this whole time is, hey, business owners, I understand that you're afraid. I understand that the government goons are scary and they are threatening you. But if it's going to come down to you losing your business because you can't pay the rent because you aren't allowed to be open and you've lost your employees and you're losing your customers, you got to do something at some point. And it sounds like some people are finally willing to step up and take a risk.
Absolutely. It's like the saying, you could either live on your knees or die on your feet.
Exactly.
And I think it's good, even though this is it's not the most dramatic thing, right? Just opening your store for business. But I think this is, at least in this case, it's revolutionary in this time where business.
That's how crazy. I mean, what you're saying there, Vincent, is how crazy of a bizarro world we're living in, where just opening your business is now a revolutionary act. Getting together and hanging out at Central Square, as we're doing every Friday night here in Keene at the Keene Nightcaps, is civil disobedience. To just simply get together and hang out. Now, we're adding open container to it, so it's extra civil disobedience, but nonetheless, these sort of normal things that we take for granted are now civilly disobedient acts that are being pushed back against not only by government goons, but also by normal people who now normal means locking yourself away in your home and staying away from people, whereas the things that, we're by no means considered to be normal prior to this, but now the things we're doing are what normal people used to do generally, like get together and hang out, and now we're criminals for doing that.
It's true. I'm glad you bring that up. It is such a role reversal where before this whole corona hysteria, I was a paranoid one. I was the germaphobe. I was the misanthrope. I spent a lot of time inside, and now that we're forced to be inside, I want to go outside. I don't care about germs anymore. Whatever happens, I guess I sort of lost a decent amount of paranoia becoming a Christian. Whatever happens.
Here's another question on this Dallas story, and I've got two other stories about other barbers and haircutters that are planning on reopening, because the one thing I've heard more from anybody else, from everybody in this situation, people that are staying home or whatever, is like, hey, we're going to get a haircut. There's a lot of people asking that question.
A what?
A haircut.
What's that?
Well, yeah, but
I've never heard of it.
Some people would like to have one, and all hair salons are closed, and haircutter, professional barbers and stylists are afraid to go back to work, or afraid to even go to their customers' homes, like do an in-call job or have their customers come to them, because they're worried the state regulators are going to fine them. But in this case, Ms. Luther, Shelley Luther, she's owned a Dallas salon called Salon a la Mode for 3 years, and she told WFAA she's aware of the risks she's taking, and added if she doesn't open up, there won't be a salon for her or her staff to return to. Quote, "I can't afford to not stay open, and my stylists can't afford to stop working anymore. We're about to lose everything and haven't gotten any help, so I had to make a decision." A Dallas County judge, according to WFAA, Clay Jenkins, made the decision to close salons, massage parlors, tattoo parlors, nail salons, and barbershops on March 22nd. This is a judge. In his executive order, I didn't know judges could write executive orders. They're not executives, are they? Any business in violation can face a misdemeanor punishable by a fine not to exceed $1,000 or jail time not to exceed 6 months. The fine print in Jenkins' order is well known to Luther. She says, quote, "I'm prepared to take on whatever it is that comes with this," unquote. Like many business owners in Texas who are forced to close, she's bleeding cash. Prior to this, she had 3 jobs: musician, makeup artist, and stylist. The single mother has lost all 3 jobs as a result of Now, they say COVID-19, but it's not COVID-19. It's this judge. It's these governors. It's these government goons. She revealed to WFAA she chose to pay the lease for her business this month instead of her own home's mortgage. So she had to choose one or the other. Do you pay your business lease or do you pay your own mortgage? She says, quote, I don't want to cause any problems, but when you're out of money, someone has to stand up and say they're not helping us by not letting us work, she said. So she's planning on reopening under strict guidelines on Friday. She said there will be sanitizing stations and that clients wouldn't be able to come in unless they wear a mask. So by no means is this woman doing like freedom salon stuff. She's trying to appease the regulators. She's like, look, we got masks, we got sanitizing stations. Please let me reopen.
So it would be a shame, but ironic if they shut her down anyways, despite all of that. I wonder if that'll factor into a cop's decision. Or city of a city busybody's decision.
The cops are going to look at it. They're going to look at her being open and say, you're not allowed to be open by the governor's order. You will close or else.
It's absolutely sick. We're not turning into a police state, but police state is here. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Do you ever say, I could care less, when you really mean the opposite? You mean to say, I couldn't care less. It's a common mistake. You are judged by how you speak, especially if you're looking for work, with so many more applicants than openings now. But even if you're not, avoiding common misstatements will help you make the most of the dozens of conversations and transactions that crowd your daily routine. So whatever you say, don't say whatever as a single-word sentence. It's the most annoying expression in the American English language, according to a recent poll. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. But seriously, at the end of the day, you'll want to avoid this scenario, sounding like everyone else. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Free Talk Live.
The only thing that separates government from the mafia is their cloak of legitimacy. The government is nothing more than an armed gang of violent people masquerading as though they're something else. They've got these PR systems in place to make people think that there's something special about their armed gang. to make them not realize that that's all they really are. They've got uniforms, they've got robes, they've got courtrooms, they've got this aura, they've got flags, they've got pledges of allegiance, they run the schools, they run the roads, they're everywhere. So you think that they're supposed to be there. They've been there since you've been born, so they must always have to be there. Well, that's not true. They're an organized gang of criminals. You know how I know they're criminals? Because they're using force on people, and that's wrong. It's just wrong to force people to do things.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you could do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. F is in freedom. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, we're joined by...
Yeah, it's Ian.
And it's me, your host, Vincent, and I want to talk to you about Divvy. Now, the next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches, because of Divvy's relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org. That's D-I-V-I project.org. And so before we begin, actually I have this article here about to begin. Task Force members sent Birx, otherwise known as Scarf Lady, to convince Trump to denounce Kemp's Georgia reopening decision, source says. And Trump now has denounced, at least last I checked, he has denounced the Georgia Republican governor's decision to reopen business. But before we get to that, waiting patiently on the line is Surf Daddy calling in from Ventura, California. Welcome. Thank you for the call. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up? Good.
Hey, I want to let you know that I'm still out surfing. So are my sons.
Nice.
So is my daughter's roommate in an egregious act of civil disobedience out here.
Oh, you criminal, you! Oh my God, terrorizing you! Well, how could you justify spreading all these deadly germs and viruses to all these old people? What do you hate old people?
Well, what about the dolphins, man?
The dolphin? Oh, is COVID-19? I first heard about was dogs, now cats. Don't tell me our mammalian friends, our aquatic mammalian friends, the dolphins, are getting COVID-19.
Gosh, I hope not. No, this situation is really surreal.
Yep.
I went into Costco this morning, and there's a loudspeaker outside, like something out of a movie, with, the announcement saying the CDC recommends that you do this, and all these guidelines that are over this loudspeaker, a big loudspeaker outside. It's such a, we live in George Orwell's movie right now, or Orwell country. This is like beyond anything my imagination ever, I thought.
It's crazy. It really is crazy.
And so have you had any worries about, because I saw, or at least on my evening show, Questioning Authority, I saw footage of this surfer who's just this surfing alone on the beach, and he was surrounded by police boats, by a helicopter, by cops, and was detained. So are you, when you go out surfing, are you worried about that sort of response?
Well, no. I mean, that was down in Malibu, which is probably an hour south. But no, to be honest, the cops I know, none of them want to enforce this stuff. Most of them are just won't do it, to be honest. But obviously, there's down there in LA, there's a few, but they're just following orders. We've heard that before, right?
Oh, yes, unfortunately, way too many times. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nah, just sharing my experience. Great show today. And, this woman in Dallas, I think that's what you were just talking about.
Yeah, the salon owner.
Yeah, she's a hero.
I agree.
She's a hero.
I agree. And that's all. I mean, she's just trying to run her business, and she's going to do her best. She's going to open tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I'm going to make a note, and we'll see if we can follow up maybe Saturday and see what the news is, see if they left her alone or if they sent the police SWAT team in to put a stop to this.
The Surf SWAT team. Thank you for. I got to mix up. Thank you for the call, Surf Daddy.
He mentioned. Was it he who mentioned Georgia, or you that mentioned Georgia?
We're about to get into Georgia.
Okay, what's the news there?
So this is. I just want to say for the people who are saying like, oh yeah, Trump is playing 5D chess. He's maneuvering the Democrats into destroying themselves. Well, and Trump, who was talking about liberating all these states like Michigan that had these open American protests. Well, I mean, he tweeted that to liberate it.
Yeah, but note that he did not tweet liberate New Hampshire. There was a huge protest in New Hampshire.
That's a very good
Why
point.
didn't he tweet that? Because it's all about politics. He said liberate Minnesota, liberate Michigan, liberate whatever the other one was. They were all states with Democrat governors. Didn't say liberate New Hampshire.
And from what I recall, Sununu was never pro-Trump. I think he had to go along with it when Trump was elected. But so, I mean, it's I don't want to call it like a misplaced sense of loyalty, but I think just Trump doesn't care. And as evidence here, this is from CNN. This was published today. Members of a coronavirus task force had to convince President Donald Trump. And now, mind you, this is from CNN, the most trusted name in fake news. So, take it with a grain of salt. They always have these anonymous sources. So they had to convince President Donald Trump to change his view on Georgia's Republican governor's decision to reopen businesses in his state later this week, a source close to the task force told CNN. But knowing the kind of people on the task force, I don't doubt that they would leak this to CNN. At a meeting before Wednesday's briefing, task force members discussed the likelihood of being asked about Governor Brian Kemp's controversial move to open up many businesses, such as nail salons and bowling alleys, the source added. I got to say, bowling alleys, everyone touches the balls, right? They share the balls, so that's a source to spread the virus.
Oh, well, I've got the list of requirements in order to reopen, not the bowling alleys, but a restaurant in Georgia. So when you're ready.
Absolutely. Trump has been publicly encouraging the country, the county. They said the county,
counties, countries,
even in the face of his own administration. Okay, so country, they just great proofreading. Well, whatever. I mean, if the journalistic integrity is already that low, why should they bother proofreading it? Even in the face of his own administration's guidelines released last week that outlay benchmarks that few regions of a country have met. On Tuesday, when asked about Kemp's decision, Trump had said he's a very capable man. He knows what he's doing. He's done a good job, a very good job as governor. During the meeting, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other task force members said if scientists were not in agreement with Trump on the Georgia issue during the news conference, it would pose a problem. Quote, because, our country is run by scientists, not by the people and for the people, right? Quote, I cannot defend this publicly, Fauci said, although he has a way slimier voice, but he seems like a Poindexter, so I'll use my Poindexter voice. Fauci said to others at the meeting, the source said, members of a group agreed it was necessary to attempt to change Trump's mind on the subject. They then asked Dr. Deborah Birx, and she's, as I said, the lady who has that scarf on, even though it's not cold inside, the panel's coordinator to try and convince
Dr.
Trump.
Karen.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Dr. Kerr. To try and convince Trump to oppose Kemp's move. She had a private meeting with Trump had I'm not going to make that joke. With the president just prior to the news conference and successfully convinced him to denounce Kemp's decision. Trump's public stance on Kemp marked an about-face. Just the day before, on Tuesday, Trump and Vice President Mike Pence told the Georgia Republican via telephone that they supported his decision on reopening the state and praised his work as governor, according to a separate source with knowledge on the call. But the president, around the time Birx met with Trump, had a second call with Kemp, according to two anonymous sources familiar with the situation. This call was brief and struck an entirely different tone than the first. Trump asked the governor to slow down his reopening plan, to which Kemp said no, according to the sources. The president said he'd call Kemp back later to discuss, but never did. To the relief of the members of a task force, Trump proceeded to say he disagreed with Kemp's decision during the Wednesday evening briefing. I told the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, that I disagree strongly with his decision to open certain facilities which are in violation of a Phase 1 guidelines for the incredible people of Georgia. Trump said, sugarcoating them with a compliment. That's nice. He suggested he would intervene if he saw, quote, something totally egregious. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany
he just
denied
does whatever he wants.
Oh, and they denied that Trump had changed his position. No one changed Trump's view. I was with. Okay, so he has his propaganda ministress.
You're going too far, too fast.
This is most egregious. Don't worry, this is free D chess, everyone. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Oh, so you're wearing a mask every day now? Where are you getting them?
The same website where I get my neck and body wraps, sunnybay.com. And they're handmade.
Really?
Just like their wraps in the USA.
Oh, and good quality?
Oh, very good. These are disposable face masks.
And good price?
That's the best part. I get a 10-pack for only $6.
Wow.
Yes, as a public service, we're now sourcing disposable face masks with level 1 protection at sunnybay.com. Get a 10-pack of high-quality, more breathable face masks, only $6. Our face masks are hypoallergenic, latex-free, and made for stress-free all-day wearing. Or choose our N95 respirator masks 2-pack for only $6. Supplies are limited, so place your order at sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company right here in the USA. Go to sunny-bay.com and purchase your disposable face masks online. 10 masks for only $6. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits, at mypatriotsupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at mypatriotsupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. mypatriotsupply.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And in studio, we're joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm your host, Vincent, and I want to talk to you about Intercoin. So Intercoin's team spent the last decade helping communities release apps to unite their members and coordinate social activity. Now, communities can release currencies to coordinate economic activity. They represent a soft but voluntary power, encouraging people to spend the currency on local goods and services that accept it, or to support community with small fees when cashing out unused coins. Towns already do this to battle globalism, and festivals can create an extended online community that transacts on their own year-round. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of the freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that this is important here on Free Talk Live. So important that FTL accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Inc. for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. That's INTERCOIN.org, intercoin.org. So now, Ian, you say you have the Georgia guidelines brought up.
Oh, yeah, because Trump's making it sound like, whoa, Georgia's going too far, too fast. We can't. I did support it, but now I don't support it. It's too much, too open, too fast, right? Like, that's sort of the idea here. That's the...
Yeah, and he'll step in, right? The feds will step in if there's anything egregious. So let's see if there's anything egregious here.
Let's see if this is too much, too far here. Because, again, all these states that are putting out that we're reopening, because I've got the Idaho plan as well, and... They're making it sound like they actually care about business. They're making it sound, see, we care. We're reopening sooner rather than later. But here's the restrictions on restaurants specifically. Okay, this is from WSB, big TV station in Atlanta, Georgia. This is from their website, per the governor's order, which they do link to here. The Governor Kemp, Brian P. Kemp, says on his Twitter, "This evening I signed an executive order for reviving a healthy Georgia with our plan for the safe reopening of specific sectors of Georgia's economy with limited operations." So, safe, specific sectors, so it's totally centrally planned economy. We will decide who gets to reopen. We will decide in what way you'll get to reopen, and here are the limitations. No more than 10 patrons per 500 square feet are allowed inside at once. Now, I think the room we're in here, Vincent, may be like, I don't know, 20 foot by 10 foot. This might be like a 200 square foot room. So think about the size of like Fucking Great, the... No, you don't. It's the name of a business. Pho. It's a pho noodle restaurant. Fucking Great here in Keene, New Hampshire. I don't think that business is much more than 1,500 square feet. I mean, just...
Oh, and how is anyone going to measure that? Like the customer? Well, I mean, the business owner can make sense. I mean, but the police, are the police going to go there?
They're going to grab a measuring tape and they're going to, come in.
I think the cops will be nice if they use a measuring tape. I'm sure that plenty of them will use their discretion.
Eyeball it, yeah. No more than 10 patrons per 500 square feet. So restaurants that were packing them in, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. When you open a restaurant, and I'm not an expert at this, but it's important how many tables you can fit and how many people are sitting at those tables in the space that you have. This is an important calculation that a restaurateur goes through when deciding what size of a space to open in. Well, now the government's coming in and being like, oh, well, basically you're going to have a tenth of as many people in your restaurant as you previously did. So why even bother? All employees are required to wear masks at all times. Employers must screen and evaluate workers who exhibit signs of illness, such as a fever over 100.4 degrees and a cough or shortness of breath. So now, in addition to having to run a restaurant, you've got to be a little nurse at the same time and make sure you have the medical ability as a restaurateur to screen all your employees when they come in.
And I got to say, 1/10 of the customers means 1/10 of the income.
The revenue.
So how? Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
So how is this going to help the business? What, we're just going to go bankrupt slower?
That's it.
That's it. And 1/10 of the customers also means 1/10 of the staff, because you don't need as many staff members there to help out a fraction of the customers. And I'm just throwing 1/10 out. It might be 1/6 or 1/7. I don't know what it will break down to.
And the more staff they have, the less customers they could have because they take up space.
Because of 10 people. Well, no, it says 10 patrons per 500 square foot. Restaurants must post signs that say no one with symptoms of COVID-19 can enter.
Oh, my God.
That's kind of like, we don't want your kind around here. Sounds a little bit like that.
Well, I wouldn't go as that far. I mean, like for me, I came in here to do a show the other night. Mark commented that I had the sniffles, and it's because of the change in temperature between inside and going outside. I had to walk. So does that mean I'm going to get kicked out of a restaurant if I'm having allergies and I sneeze, or if water goes down the wrong pipe and cough? I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous.
What if you just were smoking a cigarette outside and came back in, you're coughing from smoking the cigarette? Parties, how will you know if it's a cough that's related to COVID-19 or just somebody having a cough? Party size is limited to no more than 6 per table. So you want to have a big birthday party? Can't have that in Georgia at a restaurant. Salad bars and buffets are no longer allowed. So if you had a buffet restaurant, you're completely out of business. You no longer can have a buffet. Okay, I guess you could switch to, ordering by per person or whatever, but now you don't get to have an all-you-can-eat buffet anymore in Georgia.
Well, what's the point of because they installed the sneeze guards when HIV was prevalent, so now there's no point. I mean,
yep. Restaurants must use pre-rolled silverware. What does that even mean? Pre-rolled silverware? Are they talking about taking the silverware in the? Are they talking about buying silverware for every customer, or are they talking about like plasticware? What does that mean?
I think it's like, instead of just having the silverware, and it's just my guess, instead of having the silverware out on the table, or you hand it, some restaurants, they have it wrapped in a cloth, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it means, because it can't be plastic or disposable, because silverware, but pre-rolled.
But there's somebody in the back of the restaurant who's rolling it up in the cloth or in the napkin.
But they got to be wearing gloves and a mask, so I guess that's their logic.
Ridiculous. Items must be removed from self-service drink, condiment, utensil, and tableware stations. So, think about
soda
fountains, or any place like Chipotle, for instance, where you get your food, and then they've got like the little area where you can put some hot sauce on, or you can, get the salt and pepper packets or whatever. You grab your fork, you grab your knife. That's all gone. Now workers must provide those items to patrons. So now every time you want to get a bit of salt, every time you want to get another fork, you drop your knife on the floor. Now you got to go wait in a line and talk to somebody behind the counter, and then have them go get it and then hand it to you, because you couldn't possibly be trusted to go over and get it yourself.
And by then your food's cold.
Patrons must be kept separated while waiting to be seated through floor markings or waiting in cars. So if you've got too many people in the little waiting area that the restaurant has, well, they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, sir, we have too many people in this waiting area. You're going to have to wait out in your car or wait outside for us to let you in here. Workers who show signs of illness can't come into work. Employees who have COVID-19 must self-isolate for 7 days and be fever-free and symptom-free for 3 days before coming back to work. Employers must train employees on the importance of frequent hand washing, use of hand sanitizers, and avoiding touching their faces. And finally, for whatever reason, playgrounds must stay closed. Oh, I guess that's like McDonald's or whatever. Right?
Well, I will say, like, the indoor playgrounds, like the ball pits, even before coronavirus, those things, like, my parents wouldn't let me go into the ball pit because that's like a breeding ground for viruses and all sorts of other gross stuff. But like outdoor playgrounds, they're in the sun or depending on what part of the country, and they're in the sun all day. So there's no way coronavirus could survive on it. So I mean, if this is,
does that sound like freedom to you?
No. And this doesn't even sound. And this is what people were saying. Like, people were praising Georgia, for praising the governor, for like, he's leading the country, and then Trump is saying, whoa, this is too much, we can't do it, and I'll step in if it's too egregious. And I mean, if this is if this is what he's like, if this is what he considers egregious, I'd hate to see what the feds are okay with, or if this is what the business, red state Georgia, trailblazing, Southern pride is doing. I'd hate to see what Vermont or Massachusetts or Connecticut or New York, Washington State, Oregon, California. It's going to be terrible. I mean, it's going to be terrible.
A medical authoritarian state,
and it's not going to let up anytime soon. The phases, by the way, you asked about the federal government. We went over that a few days ago on Free Talk Live. Trump's plan, they've got their guidelines that they've put out. It's very similar to this.
It's like it's taking the economy from life support and just putting a fentanyl IV drip. I mean, it's going to keep them alive for slightly longer, but you're still putting, it's in the economy is in a medical tyranny-induced coma. It's absolutely sick, and it might cause greater repercussions around the world. Famine, when we come back, famines, depression, bankruptcy of states. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,750, silver at $15.42, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,536. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, in the last week, 4.427 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time. That brings the 4-week total to 26.5 million, which is over 10 times the prior worst 5-week period in the last 50-plus years. Activist Post reports that last week's initial claims and this week's continuing claims are the highest level of continuing claims ever. A breakdown of initial claims by state shows that the weekly devastation is easing, with the number of not seasonally adjusted claims in New York, California, and Michigan declining notably over the past week, while Florida and Connecticut are still showing dramatic increases. In the last 5 weeks, far more Americans have filed for unemployment than jobs gained during the last decade since the end of the Great Recession. 22.13 million gained in a decade, 26.4 million lost in 5 weeks. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. In a brand new interview, Maria Farmer shares new details about her time with deceased serial sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein, as well as who she believes is protecting Epstein's longtime confidant. Farmer has been reported to be the first victim of Jeffrey Epstein after she brought her story to the New York police and FBI in 1996. The Mind Unleashed reports Epstein's escapades became front-page news in the summer of 2019, when he was arrested and faced charges for abusing dozens of young girls at his homes in Florida, New Mexico, New York, and Paris. Epstein died of an alleged suicide on August 2019 while in custody on new sex crime charges filed in New York. Since 2019, Maria Farmer has begun speaking more openly about her abuse at the hands of Epstein and the abuse of her then 15-year-old sister, Annie. In a recent interview with journalist Whitney Webb, Farmer details how she often saw Donald Trump, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Epstein attorney Alan Dershowitz associating with Epstein. Facial recognition company Visibility has announced they are working with Photon X to turn smart city cameras into heartbeat measuring cameras. Activist Post reports police will no longer need to use facial recognition to identify and track someone, because now they can use a person's heartbeat and oxygen saturation levels to identify them. Allowing law enforcement to track people's heartbeats proves that our politicians care more about monitoring everyone and less about privacy. Visibility is infamous for turning video screens into secret facial recognition devices. Artificial intelligence company Landing AI announced they have developed software that turns CCTV cameras into social distancing police monitors. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Subway restaurant chain has reacted with shock this week after executives discovered that many customers are apparently purchasing footlong sandwiches and eating the entire 12 inches by themselves. A spokesperson for the company addressed reporters this morning.
This is not how our products are intended to be consumed. Our footlong subs have always been meant to be shared among 2 or more friends. Eating an entire foot of food shouldn't be possible for most people, but they've been doing it somehow, and it needs to stop.
To encourage healthier eating habits, Subway is clarifying its marketing, adjusting language on menus and in television commercials like this one. $5 footlongs? Wow, that's $2.50 per person. Subway's corporate leadership says they were horrified to learn of the misunderstanding.
It's frightening. I mean, you don't see people eating entire pizzas by themselves. We even cut the footlongs in half into 2 regular-sized sandwiches before handing them to you. But I guess that wasn't clear enough.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live radio, where you control the airwaves, which you could do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, we're joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm the host, Vincent, and your host, Vincent. And so when I was gone upstairs taking a break, Ian, I heard you laughing, and I wanted to get a genuine reaction.
It's a sad laughter. It's a laughter
You're
of
crying on the inside.
Bewilderment and frustration and amazement at the insane, tyrannical, medical authority nonsense that we're seeing imposed upon people. We just went through a list of things Per the WSB report, which is a big TV station in Atlanta, Georgia, summarizing the rules for restaurants to reopen in Georgia starting on Monday. And again, people who don't read the news, people who don't actually dig into the details, they're going to hear the headlines and be like, hey, freedom, Georgia, freedom, we got restaurants again, all right. But when you actually look at the details, it's going to be like you're eating in a hospital. You gotta, and by the way, I went through roughly a dozen points with you here, and it sounded bad, right? Like, you agree with me, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was worse than I could even imagine.
Right? They're going to shut down any buffets. Those aren't allowed. Salad bars gone. Party size limited to no more than 6 per table. No more than 10 patrons will be allowed per 500 square feet. That's just a brief review. So I pulled up the governor's order itself, and the reality is they actually did a very brief summary of those rules, because the actual rules, what do we read, like a dozen of them here, according to, starting on page 7 of this 26-page order about reopening Georgia, are the rules for restaurants. Okay, these are the rules for restaurants and dining services. There's 39 points that these businesses have to adhere to in order to be allowed to reopen. Obviously, some of the ones that we've already gone over here, they also didn't list in the WSB report. I'm not going to go through them all here, but they're talking about teleworking for all possible workers. I'm not sure how they want a server to telework or a chef to telework, so I'm not sure what they have in mind there. Holding all meetings and conferences virtually. So we talked about them requiring employees to wear face coverings, discouraging workers from using other workers' phones, desks, offices, or other work tools and equipment. They want to stagger workstations where possible to avoid employees standing adjacent to one another or next to each other. You know, like in the kitchen, where they have to have employees working together to make people's food. Where 6 feet of separation is not possible, consider spacing options that include other mitigation efforts with increased frequency of cleaning and sanitizing surfaces.
It reminds me of some manufacturing plants have their employees wear bracelets that start to vibrate if they get too close to one another.
Yeah. Prohibit handshaking and other unnecessary person-to-person contact in the workplace. You want to pat your buddy on the back because he did a good job? Give him a hug because, he just broke up with his girlfriend or whatever, right? Like, can't do that anymore.
Well, you couldn't do that before. You get a visit from HR if you put your hands on any coworker.
With their consent, I don't think that would be a problem. But, I mean, this just goes on and on and on. And then they've got the restrictions. So a lot of places are saying movie theaters won't open for months and months and months. But Georgia is leading the way. They're going to help movie theaters reopen. And so here are the requirements to reopen your movie theater, according to this. Where was it? Yeah, okay, movie theaters and cinemas. You shall implement additional measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Shall is a legal term that means there's no option.
You must.
You have to do what they say. Each party of patrons must be seated at least 6 feet apart. Now, does that mean that I have to, if I'm alone, right, because I go to theaters alone sometimes, so I'm a party. Does that mean that there has to be people 6 feet away from me, behind me, in front of me, to the left, and to the right of me? Because if that's the case, how many people could sit in a movie theater that could previously seat 250 people?
Oh, a fraction of that.
Because the theaters that we have here in Keene, they're not the biggest theaters in the world, but I happen to know that they can hold usually about 250. There's some different size rooms in that theater or in that building, but 250 is about a standard. What's it going to be, 20? 30? Now, I mean, to be fair, that theater barely has more than 20 people in it at any given time, but nonetheless.
Well, I mean, I don't mind this. I mean, I hate it when people are talking behind me or being obnoxious in the theater. So, I mean, the fewer people in the theater, the better. So, I don't know, maybe I should move to Georgia.
At least one usher must be used in each theater room before and at some point during each showing to ensure that proper social distancing protocol is enforced. So they want an usher to come in and eyeball everybody in the room and then come and talk to you if you're sitting too close to somebody else. Seats, armrests, handrails, doors, doorknobs, and door handles in each theater must be thoroughly sanitized before and after each showing. Really? You want somebody to go around to every single seat in the movie theater and sanitize it? What exactly is that going to look like? A lot of these seats are cloth.
Oh, and it's not like you eat off the seats either.
Right.
So, I mean, at least the handrails, I can understand, or the
door handles?
the armrests.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand the armrests. Is there any more to that?
Seats, armrests, handrails, doors, doorknobs, and door handles all must be sanitized thoroughly after each showing. Tape must be applied to floors at ticket counters and concession stands to enforce proper social distancing protocol for patrons who are waiting in line.
All for something that has a mortality rate, at least according to new studies, of slightly above a bad case of a flu. We got to restructure the entire economy. Got to restructure our entire society too, not just the economy.
And there's 4 more points.
But just waiting
to open reopen a movie theater.
Waiting patiently on the line, we have Sam from Warrington, Missouri. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for the call. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's Warrington, Warrington.
All right, welcome.
I saw this thing on Facebook where a guy I know, he's a pastor or whatever, he's talking about this. There's this gal called Heather E. Stevens. She's a senator out there, and she's trying to make it into law. Like, she's passing a bill where you have to, like, the whole thing where, like, you can do vaccines unless there's a religious thing going on. Basically just pulling out that religious things don't matter anymore. I'm like,
Wait, I don't really understand what you're saying. You're saying that vaccines cannot be avoided due to religious objections in Missouri?
No, this is about Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. Okay. So you're saying
they're saying that they can go ahead and they haven't done it yet, but they're trying to pass a bill that says they can go ahead and make vaccines law. And people who don't want that for religious reasons doesn't matter anymore.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call.
My God, it took forever to get that out of him.
And, after waiting, I appreciate the call, but after waiting, that long too, one would think he'd have, know exactly what he'd want to say. But that's actually a very interesting point. I'm glad he brought that up. I'll have to look into it because now usually people say, oh, well, it's just these, these crazy, fundamentalist Christians who don't want, don't believe in science and want vaccines. When it's it's Muslims, it's Orthodox Jews, it's Christians, and probably plenty of other faiths that are against it, because I believe with Muslims it's because there's like animal DNA in vaccines, and with Jews there's like a human, it violates for religious law, or at least in the Abrahamic religions. Are you of a different non-Abrahamic religion, and are you against vaccines, or are you able to ask for a religious exemption? You can call and let us know. 855-450-FREE, Epison Freedom. That's 855-450-3733. When we come back, is Mitch McConnell a libertarian hero? Will he finally destroy the... You're ruining my bit, Ian. Will he finally destroy the state? This is Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556, or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556, ICAGoldSilver.com.
Find out about your common law rights. Move about the land freely in your personal conveyance or on foot. Know what to say if stopped by a man or woman in a costume, and proceed safely on your way. Also, find out how to lawfully keep all the money you make free of tax. Protect your liberty and freedoms in a peaceful and lawful way by adding William Stenson 60 at yahoo.com to your Skype contacts. And let's talk free on Skype. That's William Stenson 60 at yahoo.com.
Got shaving irritation?
Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Free Talk Live radio, where you control the airwaves. You can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And before we go to the loaded phone lines here, just want to talk about Freedom's Phoenix. Now, Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty? FreedomsPhoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of a police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. That's Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. And so now on the AMP-only call-in line, we go to James Hell. Thank you for the call. What's on your mind?
Well, hear me out here. I think you'll get what I'm saying in the end. At first, I loved this face mask thing.
You love it.
It was my idiot test. So when I'd go in the store and I wanted to get through something, I'd grab the teller or talk to whoever that didn't have the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
And it proved pretty good for a long time, but now all these stores are implementing mandatory masks.
Right. Although Aria did point out that she's using a religious exemption to avoid wearing the masks.
Well, tomorrow we're going to get a little test in our household as my girlfriend works at a big box store like a Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're implementing it as of tomorrow, and she refuses.
Wow.
So I told her to go with the health aspect with the asthma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
medical or religious exemptions are available, from what I understand.
it's not a law here. I'm in Michigan, which is bad enough. Believe it or not, it's not a law. It's just the store follows what Walmart does, and Walmart did it. Yeah. So we'll see. She's somewhat union. It's not much of a union, but yeah, I lost my idiot test in society there for a while.
That's frustrating. You say it's not a law. There are a lot of states where it's governor's orders, and under these emergency orders, any violation of those orders is considered a misdemeanor charge. So basically, anything the governor says becomes law, which is it's a violation of
total tyranny. This is something that kings would do.
Oh, right.
Totally anti-American.
Believe me, in Michigan here, we are fighting that tooth and nail. I mean,
right.
I think from where I'm at, I'm in a smaller area. I've noticed traffic has seriously increased. Regular business has increased. People are just done with it.
Did you, out of curiosity, did you attend the Operation Gridlock rally last week?
No, that's a good 6-7 hours for me. I couldn't make it.
Oh, well, I don't blame you. Well,
God, why would you want to drive 7 hours just to sit in traffic for 2 hours? I mean, that's a terrible plan.
That's a good point. Well, thank you for the call, and please do call again when if any development happens with your girlfriend at work. Good luck with that.
She's refusing the masks.
Yeah. So now we go waiting patiently on the phone lines. We have Dave from New Hampshire. Welcome. Thank you for your patience. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Regina Barnes is, I think, a New Hampshire Senate candidate, and she posts frequently on the NH Exit group, and she had something interesting from Hampton to report, Hampton, New Hampshire. She said, quote, "Last night at the Hampton NH Board of Selectmen meeting, our police chief had reported that domestic violence calls have gone from 1 in 2019 to 15 in 2020, an increase of 1,400%. In my view, the longer we keep the economy closed, the worse this statistic will get," unquote.
Yeah, now people that have really crappy relationships have to be around each other all the time.
That's going to work out great. Liberals' heads must be exploding when they're like, I thought we were supposed to be working on keeping women away from their awful men, who were abusing them. Now we're supposed to be forcing them to be with their awful men?
Well, now let's not be gendered about it, or vice versa. I'm sure there's plenty of men who are going out of control with,
you mean women
going out of their mind. Plenty of men going out of their minds if they have like emotionally abused. I mean, I don't want to stereotype women, but
there are physically abusive women.
Exactly, yeah. And there's emotionally abusive men. So it's an absolute awful situation. Anything else you'd like to add, Dave?
That's all.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you for the call. So now we go to Matthew in Meadow, Louisiana, who's been waiting patiently. Thank you for the call. What's on your mind?
So, the whole purpose of this thing was to flatten the curve, right?
Yes.
That's what they claim.
Well, that curve is now stomped out of existence. There are hospitals. I mean, we wanted to make sure that the hospitals weren't overwhelmed. Well, now there's hospitals laying off staff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I think we've achieved this goal. We're good now.
No, we gotta just barely let people go back to work and impose a crap ton of medical restrictions on them.
No, Ian. If you let anyone go back to work, then the death toll is going to rise again. It's going to be like what do they call it? A W curve? It's going to be a W curve.
God.
Right. Well, yeah. Bolsonaro is starting to look a lot more sane to me than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yep.
As well as, oddly enough, the government of Sweden.
Yeah.
That's the new home of Ancapistan.
No.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about it yet, but yeah, apparently a lot of their rules are voluntary in Sweden, and they're not. There's a headline here from CNBC from yesterday. Sweden resisted a lockdown, and its capital is expected to reach herd immunity within weeks.
Yeah.
A stopped clock could be right twice a day.
Yeah, but isn't Sweden one of the top economically free countries out there?
Yeah, but I don't know about that, but I've seen all sorts of other awful things that their government does. Where it's
all governments do awful things.
Yeah, I mean, especially awful. It's like a kindergarten is running the country. Anything else you'd like to add, Matthew?
No, I was just you were saying the stop clock is right twice a day. Well, Bolsonaro is a clock with misplaced hands, but apparently he's right about this one too. If you look at the numbers.
Oh, but numbers out of Brazil, you mean?
Yeah.
What's very interesting. Thank you for the call. Yeah, I was. I think it was on. Thank you for the call. It was on. I think it might have been on. I was watching the news and said, yeah, it was on Tucker Carlson show where Sweden had. I think it was like slightly more deaths, maybe comparatively, since they didn't totally shut everything down. But now they're recovering, as you said, with the herd immunity. Their economy is not in shambles.
Not in shambles.
And
by the way, I was confusing them with Switzerland. It's Switzerland that's number 5 on the Heritage Foundation's list. Sweden's at 22.
22, and the United States is what?
17.
17. Oh, okay, all right. So, geez. So the United States as a whole, that's on the list, is slightly freer than.
Yeah, and this is just economic freedom rankings.
Economic. Oh, I mean, yeah, okay. So that makes sense. I was really gonna, defending Sweden. So here, I'll just begin this. McConnell said, this is from Bloomberg.com. So now we have, is Mitch McConnell the hero that libertarians, the hero that they deserve, that they need but don't deserve? McConnell says he favors letting states declare bankruptcy. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Wednesday, he's a guy who looks like a turtle for people who don't know, and he sounds like an effeminate foghorn leghorn. Mitch McConnell said Wednesday he favors allowing states struggling with high public employee pension costs amid blue states mainly, amid the burdens of a pandemic response to declare bankruptcy rather than giving them a federal bailout. And he gives, and it's interesting that so he's getting a lot of flack for this, right? And despite the turtle jokes, Mitch McConnell is for once finally showing a backbone, right? Even he has Trump against him, and we'll get into his reasonings for why, plus your calls at 855-450-FREE, F as in freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit divvyproject.org. divvyproject.org.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
All right, yeah, come on. Welcome back, everyone. This is Free Talk Live Radio, where you control the airwaves, which you can do so by calling in at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And in studio, we're joined by...
It's Ian.
And I'm Vincent. And, gosh, it's always... I'm so... it's sort of awkward reading the Forkfest reads when there is a chance that it might not be possible for it to happen. At least at the intended location. Although I do have some hope, right? As I said, with the title of today's episode, America is at a quarantine crossroads here with this coronavirus because, as we said, the most recent studies from both the East Coast, New York, and the West Coast, Los Angeles, says that at least from the antibody studies, the mortality rate is slightly higher than the seasonal flu. So I think that if people continue to, if the lockdown isn't eased out, if it's increased despite that, I know those are initial studies, but I mean, I think there's something to them. Then I think things are just going to get worse if people put up with that. But regardless, you could join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 29th until July 5th for Forkfest 2020 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 29th until July 5th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can simply relax and go camping with other liberty lovers, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with other Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. That is forkfest.party. So now, Ian, you have Sweden's ranking on the Freedom Index.
Yeah, I remember we're looking at, well, the question was, why is Sweden so different? What's going on? They're reaching herd immunity apparently within a few weeks because they didn't mandate that everybody lock down. It was more of a voluntary thing. Making suggestions. Who knew that you could suggest things and people might listen? It was the economic freedom rankings that we gave earlier, and they were at 21 or something like that of all the 180 plus countries. And that was the Heritage Foundation. Cato does the Human Freedom Index. So Human Freedom looks at both personal and economic freedom to combine those two together for a total human freedom score. On that ranking, this is the 2017 numbers. That's the newest ones because you always trail a couple years back because they got to run these numbers. Sweden is at number 11 for overall human freedom compared to the United States at number 15. Now, Sweden actually rose 3 points on that, 3 positions on that chart, meaning that it was at number 14 previously in 2016. So it's actually becoming more free as compared to the other countries. And the other interesting thing here is I'm looking at, so they give you a breakdown of how they get the score. So there's the personal freedom score and the economic freedom score. Sweden is actually, if you rank by just personal freedom, at least I'm looking at the top 100 or so countries here, or 50 or so, Sweden is the most personally free country on the entire planet, according to this ranking, with a score of 9.45 out of a potential 10. There are some others that scored over 9, but nothing quite as close as Sweden.
That's very interesting. I'm going to have to check into that. And you said that's from the Cato Institute.
Cato Institute.
Now the Cato Institute's well known for being founded and run by the Koch brothers. I don't trust those bastards for a second, so I'm going to have to look in.
Well, there's 400 plus pages in this study.
I'll check that out. So now we go to waiting patiently. David from New Mexico is on the air. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, on your program, Sweden would be fun to watch, is what I said, and so it is. And New Mexico here, another fun one to watch. You can find this in the national news. Picked it up. Mayor of I had said on radio stations the last couple of weeks here. I called in and the hosts got mad at me because they're kind of towing the line. But I would say, and a lot of people in New Mexico, there's a lot of people in government that actually listen to what people are saying on the radio station. And then you'll find telltale signs that they heard what you said on social media. But I kept saying, small business owners, if you want your businesses to be open, just go to them and open them. And the host would get mad at me because the radio station's management, like the radio station you talked about earlier, was cracking down on them to get their honor host to toe the line.
Really?
To be, yeah. And this was the major stations, obviously, in the New Mexico market. And so the hosts, you could tell, were getting a little irritated with me saying that. And then after I said it the first time, and I'm not saying that I get credit because, everybody thinks alike, that's when that gun store Caliber has opened back up and filed their lawsuit. And today, here's the new one. And it's and the mayor of Grants, New Mexico, if you search him, Martin Hicks, the U.S. News picked it up and the Washington Times picked it up. But the best is to go to the local TV stations in New Mexico because they got the video of them interviewing him because he's a real character. And he's defying the governor's order to keep the small businesses closed. He says, I'm going to bring back the whole, the 100 city or 80 city employees, and I'm going to tell all the city businesses to feel free to open back up again. Because what's she going to do to us? She's killing us. She's killing us anyway.
Right.
And he's kind of fun to watch him say that. But so on Monday, that's when the city of Grants, New Mexico, is going to open up in defiance of the governor's order.
Good.
And the city cops are not going to enforce it, obviously. And the county that he lives in, the sheriff said he's not going to do anything about it. So it's all up to the New Mexico State Police to ride in horseback and arrest the mayor of Grants, New Mexico, if they want to do anything about it. But it's worth looking. It's worth searching Mayor Martin Hicks, city of Grants, New Mexico, and watch him say it in his own words. It's
That's
pretty fun.
awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. We'll
keep
be
us in the
monitoring.
loop on that. Yeah, I want to know how that goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good to see that. Unfortunately, we don't see that here in New Hampshire, the free state. Although the people are different than the politicians. Yeah. I'm glad you finally admitted it, Ian. But hopefully one day, maybe.
Well, no, it's been that way. It's live free or die is just a slogan. It doesn't actually apply.
No, absolutely not. It's a state of mind. So, let's see here. This is Mitch McConnell's plan to destroy the state government. McConnell, yes. So he said, and he's getting a lot of flack for this because for several, many states that are, they face a lot of unfunded liabilities, right? And that's where a lot of states are in debt because they have all these like pension programs because unions and such. And so Mitch McConnell's quote says, "I would certainly be in favor of allowing states to use a bankruptcy route," he said Wednesday in response to a question on the syndicated Hugh Hewitt radio show. "It saves some cities, and there's no good reason for it not to be available." The host cited California, Illinois, and Connecticut as states that had given too much to public employee unions, and McConnell said he was reluctant to take on more debt for any rescue. "You raise yourself the important issue of what the states have done. Many of them have done to themselves with their pension programs," he said. "There's not going to be any desire on the Republican side to bail out state pensions by borrowing money from future generations." Now, if our corporations, Republicans are fine borrowing money for future generations. And so, he does bring up an interesting point where the states did this to themselves, because it's not coronavirus. It's I mean, the coronavirus is more of is maybe the instigating factor for why these states are facing bankruptcy. But it's only a matter of time.
Well,
until
states like Illinois and Massachusetts, or not Massachusetts, but
Connecticut,
Michigan, and California have had these bankruptcy issues for a long time.
And so they're they're using the coronavirus as basically just as an excuse so they could get a bailout for their own bad behavior. McConnell's remarks drew a biting response from state and local officials. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, Phil Murphy's been one of the most tyrannical governors regarding this, up there with the Michigan governor.
Mm-hmm.
Said he was stunned by McConnell's comments, which he called completely and utterly irresponsible. Okay, well, who's irresponsible here, right? And the states that spent themselves into oblivion with unfunded liabilities, and they spent more than they could provide, or the politician who says we're not going to bail you out for once, right? You have politicians at least using the taxpayer.
States do as I say, not as I do.
Because the federal government's just as bad.
Yeah,
they can print the
absolutely.
money, though.
I mean, and now they don't like responsibility. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
This is a pandemic survival alert, and the most time-sensitive messages you will hear this year. You still have time to plant a 1-acre crisis garden and secure a supply of your own nutrient-dense food. But time is running out, and it's one deadline you don't want to miss. Who should plant a crisis garden? Individuals, families, churches, communities, anyone or any group that sees hard times ahead. Let's face it, even the mainline media is talking about food supply disruptions and the growing number of grocery store workers who are becoming sick. But there's more. Meat packing plants are closing, mile-long lines at food pantries, and more farmers now in financial trouble. The truth is, growing nutrient-dense vegetables this summer may be the single most important thing you do. Go to survivalseedbank.com and watch the new video to understand what we're really up against. Get free bonus seeds, special quarantine reports too. Don't wait, every minute counts. Go to survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required, only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Final segment of Free Talk Live, but worry not, your little hearts one bit. We will be back 7 p.m. tomorrow, every week, actually every day of a week, 7 p.m. Eastern, Free Talk Live, and we could do it all again. And I want to thank some of the people who make this broadcast possible. I want to thank our gold amplifier Chip. Want to thank you for
his name's Chip, you mean?
Chip, yes.
Okay.
I want to thank, yes, Chip. No, not gold chip amplifier.
Right.
That's something else. We have the gold amplifier Chip, who consistently, what do the gold amplifiers donate, Minister Freeman?
That's $10 a month.
$10 a month. So consistently does that. It helps keep the lights on, helps keep the show going, and we always greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to join and support the show and be an amplifier and get your name read on the air, or maybe not if you prefer to stay anonymous, then you could go to amp.freetalklive.com in order to sign up for the AMP program. There's different tiers. There's silver, gold, platinum, and that's amp.freetalklive.com. Thank you so much, Chip. And now we go to the phones. Last minute caller. Here we go to Stan from Cincinnati. Thank you for your call. What's on your mind?
Well, you boys got me going here, and I have a statement to make, and perhaps you can add to it if you like.
Absolutely.
The phrases unalienable rights and shall not be infringed are now arbitrarily unalienable rights, and arbitrarily shall be infringed for the for the best of the public. Whatever it is, for the public good.
Who decides? Who decides what is the public good?
Exactly. That's my point. And the meaning of the Constitution has been adulterated by the phrases national emergency and the public good. The very meaning and intent of the Constitution has been permanently changed as the default for tyrants, it seems to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because as people, freedom ain't free, and it was Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers himself, said that the tree of liberty has to be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants alike, and people just slipped into a lull, right? Because we, these distractions, we have the TV, we have all the food we want, we have all the pornography we'd want, all the entertainment, and politicians went from being stewards of a country and caretakers to being these Santa Claus, right? For promising all this stuff. Every year, instead of a president saying, I'm just going to manage a country, make sure, the freedoms are protected, they say, oh, if you vote for me, I'm going to give you this free stuff. And they start buying votes with the Treasury. And it's, going up against the system is too hard. And so, I'm tempted to say I don't blame people for losing their freedom, but no, that's wrong. I 100% blame them for losing that freedom. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I've noticed how there's people demonstrating across America, and they're basically waking up to the idea that you cannot just let these people just tell you that your rights no longer exist, and as a matter of for the welfare of the United States of America.
But are they waking up? I don't know. I think the people who are demonstrating, having been to one of them, Vincent and I, we were both attending at a 400-person strong demonstration here over the weekend here in New Hampshire. Are people waking up, or are these the people who are already awake enough to be able to tell that this is wrong, what these government goons are doing to us, and who are willing to who can not only identify that it's wrong, but are willing to do something about it? Because there are the ones who can identify that it's wrong, but are too afraid to do anything about it. There are the ones who can identify that it's wrong and are willing to do something about it, although at this point they're just protesting. There's not much more that they've done. And then there's all of those who think it's right. There's all those people who are begging for this, who want more of it, who love this idea of social distancing and being told, how they need to run their businesses and safety precautions and cleaning mandates and all this crap.
Right. There's a lot of people out there that want the state to take care of them, as opposed to them going out and making their own way through and creating their reality. Having a business and so forth. They would prefer to have somebody, the nanny state, come in and take care of them, tell them when they're, we'll take care of you. I'm the government. We're here to help you, and so forth.
Which is horrifying. Thank you for the call, Stan.
I think those people are they seem to be the super majority. And it's sad.
And so before I just want to finish up here, I want to read the rest of the statement from the New Jersey governor regarding was Mitch McConnell threatening essentially to
not bail them out.
Not pay for their own bad financial decisions. So he says, quote, "He's dead wrong. You have my word. We won't go bankrupt," he said. "Without cash to states," Murphy said, "governors will be forced to, quote, gut the living daylights out of every state of America, slashing budgets and eliminating the services people need." So basically, balancing. They're going to be forced to balance the budget and be fiscally responsible, which they should have been doing the entire time.
Yeah.
And now you have Bill Newman.
But they don't have to, because there's no penalty for politicians for running the state apparatus into the ground.
Oh, absolutely not. They have the offshore accounts. They have their own pension. Oh, maybe pensions might not be worth much soon. You have New York, which is unfortunate because people work for them, but it's a gamble. When you try, it's like working for the government is like making a deal with the devil. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, also a Democrat, tweeted that McConnell, quote, wants police officers to lose their jobs. He wants firefighters to go broke. He wants hospitals to close and sick people thrown out onto the street.
This is always what they say. Whenever there's some sort of budgetary crisis, they always focus on cutting what they consider to be these sort of like essential jobs first, when the reality is the police are the last group that'll get cut.
And the police notably hate Bill de Blasio, and he hates them too, at least in New York. So it's funny that he's using them as a shield.
Wait, wasn't this Phil Murphy from New Jersey?
No, the next statement is Bill de Blasio. And so I mean, hey, if this is what Mitch McConnell wants to do, forget that other loser they were talking about. How about the Libertarian Party run Mitch McConnell as their presidential candidate?
No, please don't do that. I'd much rather have John McAfee.
Well, yes, and I'm talking about the other guy from the state. Jeez, I forgot his name and I did an article. The other guy who's the independent now from Michigan.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's a loser, anyways. So now this is important. Well, actually, I'll just say, speaking of quote libertarian senators, I just want to read the statement for Rand Paul, which is he says, "No amount of bailout dollars will stimulate an economy that is being strangled by quarantine. It is not a lack of money that plagues us, but a lack of commerce." So
the lack of freedom to do the commerce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, obviously Rand Paul isn't perfect. Think of what you will of him, but at least for someone,
he got some lessons from his dad.
Oh yeah. So at least for someone in the Senate, with some sanity. So now this is. I hate to end on a bad note, but this is from the New York Post talking about coronavirus crisis could cause biblical famines. UN official says.
Oh boy.
The coronavirus plague could spur. I should amend this due to the shutdown, right? It's not like the coronavirus is going to kill the crops.
Yeah.
The coronavirus plague could spur, quote, multiple famines of biblical proportions across the world if urgent action isn't taken now, a UN official said this week. World Food Program Executive Director David Beasley delivered the warning to the UN Security Council Tuesday. Well, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but I'd like to lay out for you very clearly what the world is facing at this very moment, Beasley said. At the same time, while dealing with a COVID-19 pandemic, we are also on the brink of a hunger pandemic. Millions of civilians living in conflict-scarred nations are being, quote, pushed to the brink of starvation amid the crisis, with famine a very real and dangerous possibility, he said. The World Food Program has already warned that 135 million people across the world are facing crisis levels of hunger or worse, but for updated projections during the pandemic, nearly double that number. That's in addition to the 821 million people already chronically hungry, Beasley said. Lockdowns and economic recessions will likely lead to a major loss of income among the working poor, he said. So these are people who are living in the third world who are making like $1 a day or at worst $1 a week, and they spend all their money on food. And so in the U.S., we're seeing some bare shelves, which could be supply line issues. Got to say, the truckers in this country are the unsung heroes because there's who's keeping the shelves stocked, and they're just working tough. So anyways, truckers out there, we salute you.
God bless those folks, man. They're awesome.
The situation is most concerning in countries across Africa and the Middle East because the virus threatens further damage to the response of the virus, but this is what the guy's saying. And
that's what all these news media stories, they all blame COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. No, it was the response by these government goons. That's what's doing this damage, and the fact that people go along with it. That's the problem.
In a worst-case scenario, we could be looking at famine in about 36 countries, and in fact, in 10 of these countries, we already have more than 1 million people per country who are on the verge of starvation, he told the council. While there are no famines at this point, Beasley said preparedness is key. But I must warn you that if we don't prepare and act now to secure across, avoid funding shortfalls and disruptions to trade, we could be facing multiple famines of biblical proportions within a few short months. I do believe that with our expertise and partnerships, we can bring together the teams and the programs necessary to make certain the COVID-19 pandemic does not become a humanitarian and food crisis catastrophe.
You are not going to centrally plan your way out of this problem.
No, and plenty of these places, they don't trust the UN, right? Just look into all the atrocities the UN, quote, peacekeepers have done, all the scams the UN has run. So, I mean,
central planning caused this problem, and they're not going to centrally plan their way out of it, but that's what they're going to try. And it's going to be a disaster.
I'm hoping that America wakes up to this tyranny and things go back to normal, but I have my doubts. Anyway, so thank you everyone so much for listening. Tune in again, 7 p.m. Eastern to Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about